Imagine that you are a student and are invited to help your new math teacher transport items from her car and organize her classroom. Later, you and she are at her house, and she takes out a mask from the movie Scream from the closet and suggests that you put it on. This is exactly what supposedly happened in Morgan County, Indiana, where Brittany Fortinberry, a 31-year-old math teacher, married and a mother, is facing serious accusations of sexual abuse against at least 10 minors. According to court documents, Fortinberry allegedly spent $600 on a group of boys and forced them to wear masks similar to those from the movie Scream during group sexual acts. Investigations indicate that she offered between $100 and $800 to teenagers in exchange for explicit photos. One of the accusers reported that some of these teenagers were only 13 years old. It is important to emphasize that this case is still ongoing, with judicial proceedings scheduled for April and a possible trial in June. All accusations against Fortinberry are allegations that have not yet been proven in court, and she is considered innocent until proven guilty. Stay until the end of the video to understand the full context of this story. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to our channel. The trail of accusations against Brittany Fortinberry spans 2 Indiana schools over a period of approximately 15 months. Her career as an educator began on October 24, 2023 as a substitute teacher at Martinsville High School with an emergency license issued by the state. According to court documents, she remained in this position for only 2.5 months, resigning on January 9, 2024. The Martinsville Metropolitan School District issued an official statement affirming that Fortinberry's resignation was not related to allegations of sexual misconduct and that there were no identified reports of sexual misconduct to the administration or to the anonymous reporting line during her employment period. The school also stated that it conducted a complete criminal background check for all new employees as part of standard hiring procedures, and that the report did not indicate any criminal activity for this former employee. Ironically, it was precisely during this period that some of the most serious alleged abuses would have occurred. According to the probable cause statement presented in February 2025, a teenager reported being molested by Fortinberry in October 2023, when he was still 15 years old, just days after she began her work at Martinsville High School. In August 2024, about 7 months after leaving her first job, Fortinberry secured a new position at Eminence Community Schools, an institution where students from kindergarten through high school share the same campus. Around the 4th day of class, according to the probative statement, she had already requested help from students to transport items from her car and organize her classroom, inviting them to act as her teaching assistants. One of the students reported to the investigator that initially everything seemed normal during the first week. He helped Fortinberry organize her classroom and grade assignments. However, the situation changed when she added him on Instagram, supposedly to ask about the school's cross-country competition schedule. The situation at Eminence lasted only a few days. On the night of August 22, 2024, the school received a formal complaint about inappropriate conduct with 2 students. The administration followed protocol, immediately informing the Indiana Department of Child Services and local authorities. Fortinberry was suspended that same night, and, before 9:45 the following morning, had already submitted her resignation, ending her second job as an educator. The legal consequences came in 2 distinct stages. On November 6, 2024, the first formal charges were presented: 2 misdemeanors of dissemination of harmful material to minors and harassment using a computer network related to her digital communications with students from Eminence High School. The case took substantially larger proportions in December 2024, when a teenager's grandmother approached Detective Williams at the Morgan County Prosecutor's Office. According to the documents, the young man, upon learning of Fortinberry's arrest for inappropriate messages, finally felt safe to reveal that he had been molested by the teacher approximately 1 year earlier, during his time at Martinsville High School. In February 2025, new and more serious accusations were formally presented, including 3 accusations of sexual misconduct with a minor through sexual relations, dissemination of harmful material to minors, and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. On the 25th of that month, Fortinberry was arrested for the second time, with prosecutors requesting a significant increase in her bail, from $20,000 to $150,000, a 650% increase that evidences the gravity of the new accusations. Curiously, on the same date as her second arrest, February 25, 2025, her husband, Nicholas Fortinberry, formally presented a verified petition for dissolution of the marriage. The documents indicate that the couple had been together since November 2020 and shared a biological child. Investigators discovered a sophisticated digital approach method that demonstrates premeditation on the part of the accused. According to the probative statement, Fortinberry used strategies to initiate apparently innocent contact with the students. She would add the young people on Instagram under educational pretexts, such as asking about the school's cross-country competition schedules. One of the students reported in testimony that these interactions quickly evolved into inappropriate territory. According to court documents, the initial communication would transform into conversations of an explicit sexual nature. In one case detailed in the statements, she allegedly sent a video showing drawer after drawer of sex toys and shared a revealing photo of her cleavage. To hide evidence of her inappropriate communications, Fortinberry habitually activated the disappearing mode in Instagram messages, ensuring that conversations would automatically erase themselves. She also used multiple communication channels, including Snapchat and the encrypted messaging application session, to send explicit images to the alleged victims, taking advantage of privacy features of these platforms. The probative statement also documents Fortinberry's persistence when rejected. A student reported that, after explicitly asking her to stop inappropriate communication, the teacher simply redirected her efforts, beginning to contact one of his friends in less than 30 minutes. When finally confronted about these communications by investigators, Fortinberry tried to invert the narrative, claiming that it was the students who sought her out online and not the other way around, contradicting the multiple testimonies collected by the police. Court documents reveal consistent accounts of predatory behaviors that allegedly occurred at the accused residence, often while her own children slept in another room. One of the victims stated to Detective Williams that Fortinberry waited for her children to fall asleep before initiating sexual contact with the teenagers, demonstrating a disturbing compartmentalization between her family life and the alleged abuses. In another account documented in the court statements, a teenager affirmed that Fortinberry invited him to take care of her children and, subsequently, initiated a sexual assault against him. This pattern of using apparently innocent responsibilities as a pretext for approach appears in multiple testimonies. The court documents also reveal details about how Fortinberry allegedly dealt with resistance. According to one of the accounts, when the teenager showed hesitation or tried to refuse her advances, she would simply say to just let it happen, a phrase that appears in more than one testimony and suggests psychological coercion. A teenager who was only 15 years old at the time of the alleged incidents declared that, while trying to take a nap at Fortinberry's house, she approached and initiated unsolicited sexual contact. The same young man stated to investigators that the accused provided hallucinogenic mushrooms to him and other teenagers, and that she was frequently under the effect of drugs during sexual encounters, adding a component of deliberate intoxication to the accusations. Emotional manipulation also figures prominently in the documents. The victims reported that Fortinberry established a pattern of psychological control, including threats of suicide if anyone revealed the abuses. She threatened to take her own life if any of the victims reported the abuse, states one of the official testimonies, evidencing silencing tactics. One of the teenagers declared having been coerced into having sexual relations with Fortinberry 2 or 3 times, including at least one encounter simultaneously involving another teenager. This detail suggests an element of group exploitation that amplifies the gravity of the accusations. During the documented interrogation, Fortinberry presented an unusual explanation for her behavior. According to the transcript included in the probative statement, when directly questioned about the allegations of sexual messages exchanged with students, Fortinberry responded, "I'm going to be honest with you. I regret the day I lost weight." The accused proceeded to state that she doesn't think she would have any of these problems if she were still 150 pounds heavier. This attempt to attribute her alleged predatory behavior to a recent physical transformation did not find support with the investigators. In the documents, It states that Fortinberry elaborated a narrative where she would be a victim of her own appearance, reporting an incident at a local pool where supposedly a mother had asked her to leave because her body was distracting other attendees. The interrogation report details how Fortinberry continued in this line of defense, declaring to investigators that she has large breasts and mentioning that the joke was that she was an inflatable doll and, no matter how she dressed, people talked about her appearance. The fragility of this justification became even more evident when investigators executed a search warrant at her residence in Martinsville. There they found the dance pole mentioned in multiple testimonies and the drawers full of sex toys that corresponded exactly to the descriptions of the alleged victims. When confronted with these physical evidences, according to the police report, Fortinberry really couldn't explain how the teenagers could describe with such precision personal items in her residence if she hadn't shown them directly. A disturbing aspect of the case involves the alleged knowledge and possible complicity of Fortinberry's husband. Nicholas Fortinberry, who worked as a firefighter according to the testimonies, apparently was aware of the abuses. One of the teenagers formally declared to investigators that Nicholas had made explicit threats of violence. As recorded in the court documents, he had threatened to massacre a teenager in front of Brittany if the young man reported the abuse to authorities. Another element that emerges from the documents is the marital dynamic that Brittany would have shared with the alleged victims. One of them informed investigators that Fortinberry affirmed that she and her husband maintained an open relationship, possibly as a way to normalize her behavior before the teenagers or reduce their inhibitions. Particularly concerning in the records is the revelation that many of the alleged abuses would have occurred at the couple's residence, often while the young children slept in nearby rooms. A victim reported in detail to investigators that Fortinberry gave mushrooms to the boys and began to have sexual relations after completing family rituals such as putting her own children to bed. This family aspect of the case raises additional questions about supervision and child protection that go beyond the criminal accusations against Brittany. Child protection experts consulted during the investigation expressed concern not only for the alleged direct victims of the abuses, but also for the welfare of the couple's children, who would have been present in the house during the reported incidents. The testimony that significantly altered the course of the investigation came in December 2024, when a teenager's grandmother spontaneously appeared at the Morgan County Prosecutor's office. This teenager, upon learning of Fortinberry's arrest for inappropriate messages sent to students at Eminence High School, finally found the courage to reveal that he had been molested by the teacher approximately 1 year earlier. This account was particularly significant because it established a longer and more systematic pattern of behavior, suggesting that Fortinberry's problems did not begin at Eminence Community Schools, but already existed during her time as a substitute teacher at Martinsville High School. Legally, the new accusations significantly elevated the potential consequences for Fortinberry. While the initial accusations could result in relatively light sentences, the new ones include Class B and C crimes in Indiana, which can entail sentences of several years in prison for each count, possibly totaling decades of incarceration if convicted on all charges. This case continues to develop, with new information being revealed as more victims come forward. We will continue to follow the developments and bring important updates about this case that shocked the small Indiana community and raises serious questions about safety in school environments. What did you think of this case? Share your opinion in the comments. Cases like this reinforce the need for open dialogue about child safety and the importance of reporting suspicious behaviors. If you like this content and want to stay informed about other similar cases, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, activate the notification bell, and leave your like. Your support is fundamental for us to continue bringing informative content like this. Until the next video.